This is Freedom Global News. This is Freedom News.
Attorneys General from 36 states of the Federation meet in Lagos to discuss issues on VAT and stamp duty. Colleges of Education Academic Staff Union embark on 1-month warning strike. Correspondents report on World Blood Donor Day. And on the foreign scene, U.S. President Joe Biden set to visit Saudi Arabia.
This is Freedom Global News.
Good evening, you're listening to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. I am Zahra Zannah. Today is the 14th of June, 2022. And now the news in full. Attorneys General of the 36 states of the Federation will on Wednesday meet in Lagos to discuss some critical legal issues bordering on value-added tax, Paris Club refunds, and stamp duties, among others. The meeting, which is scheduled to hold from June 15th to June 17th, will have the Ondo State Governor and Chairman of the Southern Governors Forum, Rotimi Akeredolu, delivering the keynote address at the opening session. Other issues to be deliberated upon by the state's Attorney General are the proposed amendments to the Stamp Duties Act, pensions and gratuity for judges, amendments to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. Other critical legal issues to be discussed at the meeting are the anti-corruption commissions established by some states and the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, threat to recovering unremitted tax deductions by states and local governments. The meeting is also expected to be addressed by the governors of Lagos and Plateau State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu and Simon Lalong, respectively. The National Executive Council of Colleges of Education Academic Staff Union, COESU, has begun a 1-month strike, effective today, Tuesday, 14th of June. The strike action was disclosed in a communique signed by the COESU President, Dr. Smart Olubeko, and General Secretary, Dr. Ahmed Bazzaloan. The union, like other tertiary institution-based unions in the country, had requested that the federal government attend to lingering demands. According to the statement, the strike action suspended by the union in December 2018 will resume immediately and will run for 4 weeks in the first instance. It is then that the National Executive Council of the union reconvenes to reassess the level of government's commitment on the issues for an appropriate decision on the way forward henceforth. It also stated that all state-owned colleges already on industrial action to press home local demands should impress on their respective managements that the local strike shall continue in the event that their local issues remain unresolved by the end of the nationwide strike. Kano State government said the enrollment figures of pupils in school have reached up to 4 million as a result of the free and compulsory education program in the state. The state governor, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, disclosed this today when he received delegation from the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, and chairman of State's Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB. The governor, who was represented by his deputy, Nasir Yusuf Gauna, said the state is making sure that the teaching requirement has been updated in the state.
Over 25,000 of our teachers benefited in that, and they are now in classes teaching our children. And the budgetary provision, last year we were able to do the 25%, and this year we have been able to make it even 26%. The education budgetary provision.
In his remark, the Executive Secretary of UBEC, Dr. Hamid Boboyi, said they were in Kano for the meeting of the management of UBEC and chairman of SUBEB of the 36 states of the Federation with a view to identify problems in the education sector and come up with possible solutions.
We have also been to other schools. We have seen a lot of other projects, really impressed in everyone of see a community involved in taking care of the school, to see the kind of interventions that are also there, but also to see the activity of the mind to make sure that it provides the requisite infrastructure required to make sure teaching and learning is taking place.
Correspondent Zahra Zannah reports that the delegation were received by the State Head of Service, Commissioner of Higher Education, among others. The Kano government has called on the State House of Assembly to establish a law for Muhammad Abdullahi Wasi Teaching Hospital Bill and Kano State Harmonized Retirement Age for Teachers Bill 2022. This was contained in letters received by the House, which was sent by the Kano State Governor, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje. Reading the letters during a plenary session before the House today, the Speaker, Engineer Hamisu Ibrahim Chidari, had also handed over the letters to the Clerk, Head of Legislative Service, Alhaji Garba Bako Gezawa, for legislative process.
This Honorable House is also the receipt of a letter from Office of the Executive Governor of Kano State, and it reads as follows. The Honorable Speaker, Kano State House of Assembly, Honorable Secretary Kano. Founding of Kano State Harmonized Retirement Age for Teachers Bill 2022, 1443 AH, and law to establish Muhammad Abdullahi Wasi Teaching Hospital 2022.
Similarly, the House received a letter from the Ministry of Local Government seeking clearance and screening of Malam Umar Isa Sarki as the Administrative Secretary of Rano Local Government Area, following the resignation of the incumbent Secretary Malam Jamilu Hassan, who was the Speaker, who handed over to the Chairman, House Committee on Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Alhaji Nasiru Abdullahi Dusan Amari, for legislative actions. In another development, the House nominated member representing Rogo constituency, pharmacist Magaji Dahiru Zarewa, as the new deputy majority leader of the House. This followed the resignation of the House Deputy Majority Leader, Honorable Abdullahi Ilyasu Yaryasa, member representing Tudunwada constituency.
All thanks be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who giving me the chance to be appointed or to be elected as a deputy majority leader of this honorable house. I want to make my sincere appreciation to the governor of Kano State, Dr. Abdullah Umar Ganduje, and I want to thank the current leadership of the house.
Correspondent Awal Hassan Fagir reports that the House adjourned its sitting to tomorrow, Wednesday. And on to sports, Super Eagles midfielder Wilfred Ndidi is inching closer to full recovery from the knee injury, which truncated his campaign with Leicester City. Sanusi Shaibu Musa has details of this and other sports updates.
Indeed, he coped the injury in Leicester City's UEFA Europa Conference League clash at French club Rennes. The midfielder missed Leicester City's final 2.5 months of the 2021-22 campaign as a result of the setback. The Nigerian international has however been stepping up his comeback from the injury and the looks to get a head start before Leicester City players return for pre-season training. Meanwhile, former Manchester City captain Vincent Kompany said it is an honor for him to be appointed Burnley's new manager. Kompany was appointed as Burnley's new manager at Topmo today. The English club made the announcement in a statement via its website. Kompany left Belgium's side Anderlecht last season and has now opted to take up a huge management job in the Championship after Burnley's relegation from the Premier League in 2021-22. The 36-year-old former defender will be tasked with immediate promotion. In another update, Real Madrid president Florentino Perez has reacted as Real Madrid captain Marcelo announced his departure in a press conference on Monday. Perez said Marcelo played with happiness during his time at Real Madrid, adding that the Brazilian became a man at Santiago Bernabeu. Marcelo leaves Real Madrid after 15 years and 25 trophies. In another development, new Real Madrid midfielder Aurelien Tchouameni has claimed Kylian Mbappe tried to convince him to snap the Spanish club and join Paris Saint-Germain instead. Tchouameni will officially be unveiled by Madrid today after completing his medical. His transfer will cost the La Liga giant around £85 million. Sanusi Shaibu Musa, Freedom Radio.
The Global News is coming to you from Freedom Radio 99.5 FM. You can send your comments, opinions, and watch us live on Freedom Radio Nigeria on Facebook.com. You can get the link to the page on our website, freedomradionig.com. Welcome back. You're still listening to Freedom Global News on 99.5 FM. A Kano High Court fixed July 28 for judgment in the case of a school proprietor, Abdul Malik Tanko, charged with alleged murder of 5-year-old Hanifa. The Kano state government filed 5 counts of criminal conspiracy, attempt to kidnap, abetment, kidnapping, and concealing a dead body against Tanko, Hashimu Isyaku, and Fatima Musa on February 14th. The defendants, however, pleaded not guilty to the charges. Justice Usman Naabba fixed the date after the Defense and Prosecution Council adopted their final written addresses. Earlier, the Defense Counsel, Mrs. Hasia Muhammad, in adopting her final written addresses, dated and filed on May 31st, prayed the court to consider the defendants and discharge them. The Prosecution Counsel, Deputy Director Public Prosecution, Mrs. Rabi Ahmed, in her final written addresses, dated and filed June 6th, prayed the court to convict and sentence the 3 defendants as charged. Ahmed argued that the second defendant, Isyaku, is standing trial for concealing dead body contrary to the provisions of Section 277 of the Penal Code and punishable with death under Section 274B. The World Health Organization has set aside every 14th of June as World Blood Donor Day to raise awareness globally of the need for safe blood and blood products for transfusion. The day highlights the critical contribution voluntary, unpaid blood donors make to national health systems. Hawa Adamikiawa takes a look at the importance of the day and files in this report.
Blood and blood products are essential resources for effective management of women suffering from bleeding associated with pregnancy and childbirth, children suffering from severe anemia due to malaria and malnutrition, patients with blood and bone marrow disorders, inherited disorders of hemoglobin and immune deficiency conditions, victims of trauma, emergencies, disasters, and accidents, as well as patients undergoing advanced medical and surgical procedures. The need for blood is universal, but access to blood for all those who need it is not. Blood shortages are particularly acute in low and middle income countries. The day also provides an opportunity to call to action governments and national health authorities to provide adequate resources to increase the collection of blood from voluntary unpaid blood donors and to manage access to blood and transfusion of those who require it. A particular activity that countries in the world are encouraged to implement for this year's campaign is to disseminate to various media outlets stories of people whose lives have been saved through blood donation as a way of motivating regular blood donors to continue giving blood and to motivate people in good health who have never given blood to begin doing so. Some people interviewed in Kano Metropolis speak on their view on blood donations.
I want to donate my blood voluntarily. I'm ready to do so if the need is arising.
I never donated blood to anyone in my life. I'm so scared to do that.
I've never donated blood, honestly, and it's not that I don't want to, but they'll prefer to get a blood from a male family member. But then I've never taken myself to the hospital or any health center to donate blood just like that.
Dr. Usman Abdullahi Makoko with the Department of Hematology and Blood Transfusion, Amina Kano Teaching Hospital, speaks on the importance, procedure, and health benefits of blood donation.
There are many benefits they will derive from donating blood to patients. One is that fulfillment that you have saved a life. Two, cardiovascular system will be more stabilized and your marrow will remain active for a very long time. Very good to the health for someone to donate blood. In most departments, the laboratory, especially hematology department, is vested with responsibility of.
The state coordinator, Red Cross Kano, Alhaji Musa Di Abdullahi, explains the importance of blood donation.
To the donor, anybody who donated blood is helping himself and also is saving life of our fellow humanity. So this is very key and very important to see that blood donation is something that we need to sustain, need to be associated. Every individual need to be a member of blood donation group.
The theme for this year's World Blood Donor Day is Donating Blood is an Act of Solidarity. Join the effort and save lives. Hawa Adam Kiawa, Freedom Radio.
And on the foreign scene, the White House has confirmed details of United States President Joe Biden's first trip to the Middle East, including a controversial stop in Saudi Arabia and an unexpected meeting with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The Biden administration today confirmed the trip, which had previously been reported by U.S. media, would take place between July 13th and 16th. Biden would also visit Israel and the occupied West Bank. And with that, we've come to the end of today's Global News. On behalf of the entire production team, and I, Zahra Zannah, thank you for listening.
Freedom.